Hi everyone, and welcome to ASI Facebook Live. I'm Vinny.
And I'm Patrick.
And today we're going to be talking about a great social media conference that we both attended last week. We're going to be talking about the takeaways that both him and I took from the conference and talking about ways that you can, your business can benefit from that. Also, we're going to encourage you, if you have any questions at all, to ask us during this live stream. Post your comments here. We'll try to, we'll try to respond to them either during the show or after the show. So Patrick, Social Media Marketing World 2019.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was awesome. It was great to go meet people that were in our same fields, out there kind of struggling with some things that we came in contact with, but also doing some really good strategy on every platform. So we got a very big look at everything that's out there in social media right now.
Right, so it was in San Diego, so it was really, it was a lot of fun for us because we got to travel, but also it was 3 days of intensive education. There were workshops, there were sessions, you got to meet some of the smartest people in social media in 2019. There were some really great presenters. So Patrick and I, we kind of split up. We broke off into the areas that him and I wanted to learn about, and we both have different takeaways from this conference. So I'm going to talk about the three takeaways that I had from this conference, and Patrick's also going to do the same thing. But again, if you have any questions for us, any social media based questions, certainly, I don't consider myself an expert, but I have a lot of knowledge. So, Patrick and I will do our best to try to answer those questions. So my first takeaway from the conference and all the education, all the networking that I dealt with was that in 2019, you have to be doing video. There's no doubt about it. Video is king in 2019.
Absolutely, and that was said from multiple speakers and multiple sessions across the board.
Every session that I was in talked about video. You have to do video, and there was actually an interesting stat at one of the classes that of your social media marketing, 70% of it has to be video, 20% imagery, and 10% links. Now, when I think about our strategy, we post a lot of links.
It's completely flipped if you think about it, because we're doing all the content from the editorial teams and important news and industry updates. I mean, we have a different model, but it's interesting to see people trying to adapt to that structure.
Right. And one of the things they really talk about is doing more live, so like what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
We would have never done this had we not gone to the show and been told you should be doing more live video, because live video is getting a lot of real estate in social media, in all networks, and even LinkedIn is going to be doing a live feature soon. I think it's available to some companies, but eventually LinkedIn's going to have its own live video. Twitter has it, Instagram has it. Live video is the thing to do. Now, also, when you think of video, a lot of people think of, a YouTube link. I'm just going to take a YouTube link, or I'm going to upload my content into YouTube and take that link and share it into Facebook, into Twitter. That's not how it works. So video in 2019, all the platforms, all the social media platforms, they want to own that video. They want to actually be able to have you upload it to their platform so that you don't click out. Because if you click out of, say, Facebook and you go to YouTube, those two are competitors. And now, you've lost the person on your social network. So all the platforms are encouraging you to create your video, either doing it live or recording it and uploading it directly to that network.
Yep.
So that's an important distinction, because if you share a YouTube link on Twitter, that's considered a link, not a video.
Exactly, and that's an important distinction to make, because otherwise you're going to get limited reach on that, and it really does make a big difference.
Right, and especially with Facebook. As I said, Facebook and YouTube are competitors.
They're competitors. They're competing for that real estate in that space and the viewership. Exactly. So why would one reward the other just to be? So it makes sense. Yeah.
If you've ever shared a YouTube link on your personal page and no one's liking it or commenting on it,
it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. It's because they're direct competitors, and what Facebook is doing is taking that link and burying it.
Yep.
They don't want anyone to see it because they're going to click on it and they're going to go to YouTube. That doesn't work for Facebook. They're competitors. Yep. So do more video, even if it's something like this. I always make the case, like, produce video is a little bit harder to do when you've got graphics, you have a lot of post-production, you need software to do it. But if you're doing this right here, where you're doing live, all it really takes is, just talk about something, press a button. And that was big at the
Yep.
social media conference. Just press the button, just
Yep.
try it, give it a shot. Chances are you're going to reach an audience, you're going to build relationships, and people are going to start interacting with you. And you're going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We
Yep.
make mistakes all the time.
At the very start of this video, I opened the live video on my phone to watch the comments, and the volume was on. That's
right.
a mistake. You
That's a
heard the
mistake.
volume. So clearly, it's all about, just running with it, pressing the button, and seeing what happens.
Have fun with it too.
Yeah.
So your first takeaway.
Yeah, mine actually kind of is a piggyback off of that point. Not necessarily video, but it's the distinction between producing noise and smart content.
Right.
In any of the sessions that I went to with content, marketing, and the strategic vision behind how do we produce the right kind of content for your audience, they all said take a step back and look at your customer journey. Make sure you're producing content that goes towards those needs. Don't just cover everything or anything. It's also important to say, okay, how does this bring value to a customer in a specific part of their journey? And when you map out that journey, you can see where you actually want to put certain content pieces, certain white papers, a blog topic, and then you can target to them directly and track that readership. So
Definitely.
It's more important to take a step back and say, okay, how are we adding value to the people reading this than just continually producing content at an accelerated rate. So that was a big takeaway for me.
That's a good one. So how do they go about discovering how do they know what the customer journey is?
Well, one of the first things they suggested was go through your processes if you were a customer. Go online, go through your checkout process, look at your material. Approach it as if you were somebody about to try and sign on with your company. And then say, okay, what are kind of the information, what are some more of the information that we want in front of me if I was trying to make a decision. And then you build off of that, and you just kind of branch out and say, okay, what are the different add-ons to that conversation that we want to do? So that's kind of what they did, and then that goes into sales funnels and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But that was the first base of that conversation.
That's a very strategic based takeaway.
Exactly.
And that's certainly for what Patrick does here. Like I said, we had split up at the conference, and I was more platform specific. He was more strategic. It's all strategy, but he was really trying to figure out the customer journey because he's more on the customer service side.
Exactly.
So that's certainly served your needs well. So if at any time anyone has a question for either us about the topics we're covering, feel free to post here.
Absolutely.
Also, if you have a question, it's just not a topic that we're covering, feel free to ask away. We'll definitely get to your questions either, during this live stream or after the fact.
Exactly.
So my second takeaway is, and I went to a handful of, I guess about half a dozen sessions. I did some workshops, but at a couple of these, there was overlap with Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is a network that is sort of a mystery to me. I don't use it often. ASI has a presence on Pinterest that we need to really kind of ramp up, especially after this conference, because what I found out about Pinterest is that there's a paid model for Pinterest right now that people are having amazing success with. You can actually put very little money and get amazing reach for your brand. I was talking with one woman who said that she put $150 for an ad for Pinterest. She got over 75,000 reach.
That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts. So,
right now, I'm sure people are going to start kind of gravitating there.
Yeah.
But I think right now it's prime real estate. And I think about this industry, and I think it's, we have a lot of creativity here. It's a tangible business. We have a lot of promotional products, and Pinterest is a great social platform for both suppliers and distributors to showcase promotional products. You could do video on Pinterest. There's so much opportunity there for our industry, and I find that there's not too many of us actually on there.
And I think it also goes back to the platform itself. It's a very visual network. I've used Pinterest for finding new shoes, different kind of men's fashion stuff. Also, if you're designing your own apartment kind of things, that's all up there. And what's great about, and I actually went to a Pinterest session myself too with ads, And one of the coolest, I'm going to piggyback off you.
Yeah, go for it.
Mine. So, kind of stole a little bit, but it's
okay,
fine.
that's
So
okay.
one of the cool things is that there's no brand loyalty on Pinterest. So basically,
Makes sense.
it's an even playing field. So what they described is like when you're doing keywords and ads and stuff like this for like Pinterest, and even how you structure your pins, you have to think from the perspective of a user. They're searching things like inspiration, men's apartment, or inspiration fall fashion, you know, whatever it is. But what you notice there is it's not inspiration, you know, like polo like things. It's not branded in that search engine, which means it's an even playing field. 2 years ago, there was a stat. It was like 97% of searches were all unbranded, and now this last year was 98%. So it's increasing. It's not a branded platform yet. So no company owns that space, which means it's free for all.
Right. It's open, and I think. Pinterest is a lot like Instagram in that you can really load up your pins with hashtags.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with Facebook, hashtags don't work. You know, we've been through that in the past. Twitter, obviously, they work, but you have a certain character restriction. But Instagram and Pinterest is where you can really load up your posts with as many hashtags. And it's not frowned upon. It doesn't look like noise. The more hashtags, the better. The more reachable or findable your content is going to be. And that's really where the advantage is with Pinterest.
And on Instagram, don't forget, you can always follow a specific hashtag, which makes it a game changer as well. So now that hashtag becomes almost like a destination page in a way. So
absolutely,
that's also something to keep in mind for your strategy.
So your second takeaway?
Well, that was my second takeaway.
Okay, so what's your second takeaway?
All right, so I'll jump up to third. So the one thing, I did a lot of like ad stuff as well. I went in and I wanted to see the strategy behind ads. One of the biggest takeaways that I found was that it is not just about producing a video or a white paper or something like that specifically in mind to put money behind it as an ad. It's also taking a step back and looking at what's working organically, what your audience is already responding to, and then putting ad dollars behind that to push it to people that haven't seen that yet. Because if it's a little bit more advanced on that, on how you target them, and there was some cool things I got out of that. But at the base of it is just the fact that, you know, look at what's working, and then you can use ad money to get it to more people. You don't have to create completely new content for an ad campaign. Use what you got, use what works, and get it in front of people that haven't seen it yet.
So I think what you're saying is you don't necessarily have to be a straight hard ad.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of this on our Facebook page. When we have great editorial content and we put it out to our audience, you know, we'll get X amount of engagement and we'll think, okay, this is still great content. We want it to reach more eyeballs. So what we'll do is we'll boost. You'll see, I mean, if you use Facebook and you post content, you'll see the little boost button. It's a little blue boost button at the bottom right of your screen. So you can actually, you know, treat all your content the same way, you know, in a paid version. You can boost it to, you know, you can put $50 to it. And we've talked about this before. You know, Facebook, you can put as little as $5. You know, that you don't need a massive budget to really promote your content. So I think that's kind of what you're alluding to too.
Yeah, it's all about, you know, they kind of preach the little victories. You know, it's about, you know, take a look at what works and then experiment with that, and you're going to find little victories along the way.
Right, for sure. And we've tried that too. And, you know, we've had great content that we've boosted, and, you know, it's didn't do much, you know, but then we had great content that we boosted that did really well. So we know, okay, you know, this is finding a bigger audience, and the audience is discovering it and liking it. Yeah. So with that, you can also get new followers. You can build more relationships. You know, you can transcend your own industry. You know, and it's not frowned upon that, you know, you're going to have people on your page that have nothing to do with your industry. If you're doing good stuff on your Facebook page, on your social media, people are going to follow you. You know, it's irrelevant that the industry is not applicable to what they do. Great content will get eyeballs no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah. Authenticity and transparency. Those are the two main things that you need in your content.
Definitely. So if you have any questions for us at all, you know, feel free to post right now or post after the fact. We'll get to those, any kind of questions that you might have. We'll take some time and we'll answer them if we can. And if we can't, we'll get the answers for you. Yeah. So my last takeaway from the Social Media Marketing World Conference, and this was the big one. This, for me, connections. Build connections on your social media pages. You know, there's so much noise in 2019. Any social media platform that you go to, you're going to be inundated with ads, you're going to be inundated with stuff that has nothing to do with anything, and you're going to scroll, and you're going to just keep scrolling. And it's almost like you become a zombie. You become a zombie. And then you want to stand out somehow. You want to build the relationships. You want to do more personable stuff like we're doing right now today. You want to do live video. You want to talk directly to your audience, and you want to try to connect with them. You want to encourage engagement.
Exactly.
Offer them something useful. Give them a reason to keep coming back. And I think that's really how, the biggest takeaway I had from 2019 was connections. Build the connections. And the conference itself was connection based. So it was also a networking conference. You got to meet with people that are having the same issues with social media that you are. Talk about your pain points. Maybe they have some strategy that worked for them. And you and I came back with at least half a dozen really strong contacts from this conference.
Yeah. And it was all about sitting down or bumping into people. That was it.
Right. And I think the way you approach social media is the same way. You want to meet people. You want to build connections and use it to your advantage. Because, like I said earlier, you give them a reason to come back. If you keep just posting ads and content without any real structure, just hoping that I'm going to post this and 100 people are going to like it, and it doesn't work like that. You really have to work at it. Try new things. Every social media has different features. For instance, Twitter has polls. Facebook has polls. Do most people know that? A lot of people don't really know that. Take advantage when you click on post a piece of content. Look at the features that they have there. Figure out new and interesting ways that you can engage your audience. And really try to connect with them. And that's really the takeaway I got.
Yeah, I think the last point for me was that one of the speakers was encouraging people to go in and try and break it. That was one thing they said. Go in, click buttons, go into the settings, try to break the platform.
Right.
Find things that aren't just on the surface. Hit the more info or learn more button a lot. Like just open up a bunch of tabs and just read as much as you can.
Right.
Go in, discover what's in these platforms, and you'll get ideas along the way. You'll see a certain thing and be like, oh, that's great for XYZ, or oh, that's great for that client. There's things there that really will stand out to you while you just dig around.
Right, and it's not about just posting links anymore. I mean, if you're just posting links on social media, look, there are links that are worth sharing, and we post a lot of them.
Absolutely, that's true.
But social media is more about connections, like I said. Like hashtag press that button. That was kind of trending in the social media marketing world. And what that means is use the live video. Just take a chance and do it. Once you do it once, you're going to become more comfortable doing it. And then you'll try it on different platforms. And if you measure what you do in live video and you compare it to what you do, normally, you're going to see that the video is treated like a king. All the social networks
highly prioritized.
All the social networks want you to do video. So just think about that. Like you're going to be rewarded for doing it. The social networks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, soon to be LinkedIn, they're all pushing live video, and you're going to push it right up to everyone's feed, and everyone's going to see it. So to me, that's really, that's a huge takeaway.
Yeah.
So unless you have anything to add, I think we're done here. Now, you can always go back and comment after the fact. We're going to keep this on our Facebook page pinned to the top for a little bit of time. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment in the section or, message the page directly, and we'll try to help out as much as we can.
Absolutely. We'll keep an eye open for you guys.
All right, for Patrick, I'm Vinny. We'll see you next time on ASI Facebook Live.
Take care, guys.